Hi everyone, Vickieverlie here. Today we're going to do the year ahead reading for Gemini. So the year ahead reading is not going to be the year of 2025 or anything. It's going to be the year of your solar return in June. We're going to start it in June. Some of you might be May. And then we're going to go through the quarters of the year. First quarter will be June, July, August. Second quarter, September, October, November. There we go. Third quarter, December, January, February of next year, 26, and then fourth quarter, March, April, May. And that's going through the whole year of the solar return for all our Geminis. Now, Gemini, astrology-wise, there is a very big deal happening, okay? First of all, you're coming off, you've had Jupiter in your sign this past year, and it's leaving. So you should be getting some kind of a gift as Jupiter leaves the sign. But then Uranus is going to go into Gemini. Now, it has been in there before in the stretch of the human lifetime. It's going in on July 7th. Uranus moves into Gemini. And then it actually, I think it doesn't move out. Yeah, it retrogrades out back in November. It'll retrograde back out. And then next year it'll be in again. But if you were born between 42 and 49, you are having a Uranian return. It takes about 80 years, roughly. So, you know, it's a big time, though. A lot of people probably don't remember that. And even if you were born between 42 and 49, you were just a baby or a little kid, you probably don't really remember it either, you know. So, but, you know, Uranus is freedom, changes, twists and turns, things erratic. All of a sudden, things could change on a dime. But here's the thing. You being a Gemini, even if you're Gemini rising, moon, whatever, you acclimate to change well. That's something that Gemini does very well. You know, you're not somebody, you're not a fixed sign, you're a mutable sign, you're air, you're ruled by Mercury, things changing quickly, you know, you can roll with that. So you are one of the signs, one of the signs that could most benefit and utilize the energy of Uranus. But be ready for things to change on a dime. Anything that's been holding you back, you're probably going to be freed from it. You know, that's how that's going to roll out. Release from bondage, freedom, you know, going, exploring new things, new ideas. Okay, let's go ahead and we're going to do, not month by month, but quarter by quarter. We're going to do the first quarter. We'll do 2 cards for the first quarter. And you have the Lovers and the Death card. Now, you know, some of you could be ending a relationship. You know, you might be. Or, you know, you might be ending and getting in a new one. Let's go do the second thing. We'll go through everything at the end. I just want to get some cards laid out first, and then we'll go through the whole thing. Next quarter, we have the Queen of Swords, which is one of your representations, air sign person, followed by the Seven of Cups, dreaming your reality. Third quarter, December of 2025 through February of 26. December, January, February. 2 cards for Geminis. We have the Magician and the 4 of Pentacles. Okay, and then the last quarter, which is the last quarter of your solar return, March, April, May of next year, before we come back around to Gemini season again in 2026. And 2 cards for March, April, May of next year. We have 7 of Swords and the Knight of Pentacles. Okay, yeah, some of you might be ending a relationship, but you may have, also I want to say for some it may have been a while. Because the Lovers feels really bright and full of hope and something positive. So maybe you've been divorced for a long time, or your divorce is finally, final. And this feels very much like new love blooming on some level. It doesn't feel negative to me at all. It feels like it's a big change, but it's positive. Or maybe you're even going to, you know, with Uranus, you could totally have to relocate all of a sudden. An opportunity could come to relocate, or somebody else could relocate and all of a sudden be where you are. You know, as a result of these big changes, that's the Death card. The Death card really is more associated with Scorpio, but with Uranus, you know, there could be some big changes, and there's going to be things you're going to have to let go of. But Lovers is there. I feel like you're going to have a strong partnership by your side and a lot of love around you, even though you may be going through some big shifts and changes. Now, the second quarter, here you are, Queen of Swords. Regardless of gender, this would be the representation of you. This is the time to really start dreaming your dream into the reality. It's almost like you get that initial jolt or that initial shock of Uranus entering in your sign in the first quarter. And then as we move into the second quarter, you're in it. You know, they're talking about juice. You know, you're getting the juice from it. But she's looking forward, and she's reaching her hand out to she's visualizing her future, and she's reaching her hand toward it. She's reaching her hand toward it to say, I like this. I'm reaching out to it. I'm reaching out to these various dreams and these things that the universe is presenting to me. And you are moving forward into realizing and manifesting your dreams becoming a reality. Now, November, as we said, this is when it's going to slip back into, I should look that up. When is it going to go back forward next year? So November, it will slip back into Taurus out of your sign, but you've got these first, like 6 months or so to really work with that Uranus energy, to really make the big changes in your life that you're seeking and that you want to make in your life. I'm just going to check really quick in the ephemeris. Okay, then Uranus is going to move back in April. So it's going to be in Taurus for this third quarter, December, January, February. So you could be backtracking over some other things. Going over finances, end of year finances. Magician, though, I feel like you're really setting a solid plan in place. If any of you have been thinking about starting your own business, this could absolutely be a time to start your own business for sure. This could be very powerful to start your own business, but it's also like you doing something, you're independent. You're independently standing on your own 2 feet, being your own person, the master of your own domain, steering your ship or steering your life in the way you want. Getting the finances together, though, that's going to be a big thing during this quarter. Fourth quarter, we're back in, and as of April, Uranus is back in your sign, and then it's going to stay. It's going to stay in your sign for, I think, 8 years or something, a long time. So anyways, or 6, 7, 8 years. For the rest of 2026, for sure, anyway. Let's just put it that way, okay? So you feel like something's been taken away from you or you've been treated unfairly. Could be somebody at work, Knight of Pentacles. This could be some kind of a work situation. This could be somebody who has dealings with your money, somebody who has dealings with your money. Could also be a Taurus, a Capricorn, or a Virgo. Could also be talking about the time of Taurus. Now, it could be the time when the sun is in Taurus, sure, which would be late April, April 20th, say, through May 20th. But also, this is that time frame as of March before, well, Uranus is still back in Taurus, So it may require some going over some things from the past. But my guides just said you will emerge triumphant, okay? You're coming out of this, you're emerging triumphant. There could definitely be financial gains with the Knight of Pentacles showing up. Somebody coming in who is presenting you with some sort of financial opportunity, some sort of financial pathway. What's standing out to me in the background here, I'm not really sure what it is, but it almost looks like a river or something. But it looks, what I get out of this, these two, like this is city and this is country. That's what it feels like to me. Or this is city and this is maybe the suburbs, or not the city. This feels more wide open spaces, things like that. So some of you may be even thinking, I've had enough of this rat race. I've had enough of always having to push, strive. And I just want to go in the rolling countryside. Or you could meet somebody who is very earthy and is that type of person who maybe has a cabin or likes to go camping or has farmland, or maybe these are even vineyards. You may be traveling to go, some of you, either to visit somewhere that has vineyards, but also maybe to live there or adjacent to it, near rolling hills, vineyards, these types of things. So, and with Uranus traveling through your sign, it's, you could definitely do something like that. You could make some big, huge change. I was doing this, and now I'm going to do this, make this big death, this completely change, do this completely other thing that's so different and so, a big change in a lifestyle. And Uranus is the fuel that can propel you forward in doing just that. No matter what it is. It doesn't have to be, I'm working in the country, or I'm in the city, and then I go to the country, or vice versa. It doesn't even have to do with necessarily like where you reside, or anything like that. But it could be just anything. Maybe you want to just take it a little more easy. Maybe you've been in the corporate world and now you want to do some kind of something sustainable, or this came up in another reading where they call that homesteading or something like that, or something having to do with farming or grapes. I keep picking up grapes and vineyards. So for somebody out there, there's definitely some connection to that. But it's like it feels stepping away from this. Although it's probably going to be more towards the next year, because it feels like you've got some, my guys are saying, there's some important business to finish up or loose ends that have to be tied up. Right as we're changing the year from 2025 to 2026, this third quarter of your solar cycle, the solar cycle of when the sun goes through all the signs and then comes back next year and sits back here in your sign again, your solar year. So there's some things that are going to have to be, taken care of, and it wouldn't be surprising if it was during this quarter too, because that's when that stuff goes back into Taurus. So down to earth, practical, deal with the money, get that stuff done, and then you can really be free to enjoy and live these dreams that you've been dreaming and wanting to do for some time, for many, okay? All right, Geminis, well, I hope you have a great solar new year. I do have that astrology report that goes for the whole year. That's, very informative. It's like 60 to 80 pages long, and it covers every single astrology aspect and what to expect from it. So that's available on my website. And if you're watching this still in June, you can always get the astrology reading that I'm offering. It's the solstice reading, but it's actually an astrology reading, personal astrology reading done by me, where we'll talk about the Uranus going into your sign, and we'll see what planets it's hitting, as well as all the other big changes that are going on, the Saturn, Neptune, Jupiter, all those things changing signs and where they're hitting up in your chart. But no matter what the case, I hope you have a great solar new year. Set your list, do your manifestation list, and be ready to create your reality going into the year ahead. Okay, have a great one. Talk to you later. Bye.